Okay, now I want you to give a special welcome to our next speaker. I want you to give a special welcome because she was only 24. She's one of those people that we absolutely want to encourage. A young woman, 24, trembling like a leaf when I last talked to her about standing up here in front of you. But her name is Rhona Togher, and she has started up her own little company in the connected health space. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Rhona Togher?
Communication is fundamental to life, and we're on a mission to eradicate avoidable hearing damage. We're doing this through a treatment and prevention. When I was younger, a little bit younger, I went to far too many concerts, and I'm sure some of you here before have too. I suffered from something called tinnitus. It's the ringing you get in your ears after these concerts. And it wouldn't go away. And I was like, must be something I can do about this. What will I find out? But all I found out was that I wasn't alone. There are 300 million other tinnitus sufferers in the world, all looking for a solution with nothing available. I was lucky to find Emer, my best friend. She played these bright yellow drums in this punk rock band. They were awful. But she suffered from tinnitus too. And we were nerds in school. We wanted to do extracurricular activities. And when we saw that there was nothing we could do about this incessant ringing in our ears, we said, let's take it on. Let's be ambitious. We've got some free time. And what we learned was a lot about how the ear works, how sound works in the ear, how you process it, and maybe what could be done about this tinnitus. In Ireland, there's something called the BT Young Scientist and Technology Exhibition, and we said, let's bring our research there. So we developed a sound therapy, and we tested it on 200 of our very not-so-keen friends. And we saw that we were actually getting results. After they used our therapy, when they had tinnitus, their ringing in the ears was going away. We surveyed 1,000 people in Ireland, and they all had it, and there was nothing that they could do about it. So we brought our research to the competition, and all we found there were just more people who wanted the therapy. They wanted access to it. They wanted to bring it for their mother, their children, for their uncle, anyone. They all knew someone who suffered from tinnitus. And we thought, well, we're just scientists. We don't really know that much about business, but maybe that's the route that we're going to have to go to. We weren't yet in university, so there was no way for us to get funding to further our research, which was unfortunate, but we were really keen, and we knew that we would be able to continue going if we went down the business route. Our local enterprise office in our hometown in Sligo gave us a small grant to start our website, and this was where we were going to sell our sound therapy. It's just a 5-minute therapy that you listen to, and you listen to it every day. It's called Sound Relief. The therapy has been clinically proved. Now, after working on this for a number of years, people listen to it for 5 minutes a day through our website. When we set up this site, we didn't know how far it would grow. It was years ago when the internet really wasn't a thing. There wasn't Twitter. There was no guy trying to manage all the tweets. It was hard to get the word out. I know. We didn't know how it was going to grow, but we knew that we wanted to grow. We knew that nowadays people, they're asking Google when there's something wrong. I'm sure every single one of you in here has typed in a symptom and gone, what do I have? Google will tell me, and they'll tell me how to fix it. And people are doing that every single day still, but they're not getting reliable results. So we wanted to become that place that people could go to for reliable results. You can get a 15% reduction in the severity of your tinnitus after just 1 month using our therapy. And to date, we've had 12,000 people sign up to use it. And that's amazing. We're changing lives every single day. One of our customers recently emailed us and said that he can hear his children in the morning instead of his tinnitus when he wakes up. And that's so moving. It's what inspires us to keep going. But another thing that we learned from setting this up and realizing that tinnitus is becoming a global health issue was that people were getting it more so in their day-to-day lives. It wasn't just people like me going to a few too many concerts or Emer Hunter or like Yellow Drums. It was people working in construction, people working in oil and gas, working in aviation, who had poor hearing protection. And they didn't have access to those fancy electronics. So we said, we're going to take this on too. We can do it. And we created something called the Sound Bounce. General hearing protection at the moment uses foam. I'm sure everyone owns a pair. There's nothing inside it. You use it when you're mowing the lawn. It doesn't do very much. And then if you have the bucks, you can buy some fancy electronics, but maybe in this room you can, but the general population, not so much. So we wanted to combine the effects of the electronics to use all of this information that we had built up over the years and make something that would work as effectively, but for the same price as that foam headset. And we have done that in creating the Sound Bounce. We've designed a retrofit insert that you can put into any headset that you own right now, and it will absorb sound 8 times better. We want you to pull out the foam, put in the insert. It is that simple. What's amazing is that in the last 50 years, in the last 10 years, 50 million headsets have been sold worldwide. That's 50 million sets of ears that aren't being protected, that are being exposed to this loud noise. They're becoming the deaf generation. They're becoming those people who are going to suffer from tinnitus chronically. And we know that we can retrofit into each one of them and prevent this from ever happening. One of the amazing things that we can do is we can do exactly what electronics does. We can optimize it for any environment. So you work in construction and you want to be able to have a conversation with your colleagues while not removing your headset, we can do that. I'm sure you've all walked past a construction site at one point or another, and none of them are wearing their headsets. It's because they need to be able to communicate. But what we can do is block out of all of those harmful sounds and enable you to communicate with each other. This is just the beginning for this technology. Right now, we're just making it for headsets, but we can actually configure it to any shape and any size and for any industry. So if you work in aviation or military or oil and gas, we can line the inside of your airplane for you to make for a quiet trip wherever you're going. Or we can line your heavy machinery on your oil rig. One of the big challenges that we've had in trying to do all this while starting it at the age of 18 was actually being trusted. A huge thing right now, I know we all spoke about it earlier today, was trust in the internet. You said something like 30% of people don't actually trust the internet, which is ridiculous, and we get that a lot because we're from Ireland. It's a small country. People won't trust you far away. So what we've tried to do is have corporate partnerships with all of the biggest tinnitus associations in the world to show them that we're really on a mission to eradicate this avoidable hearing damage and to change the way that these people who suffer from tinnitus live their lives. And this year, we also became the first ever online tinnitus company to become CE regulated. That's huge. Digital health is changing the world, not just here in Europe, but all over the globe. And it's amazing to see what e-health can do for people now, that no longer you need to go into a hospital or a clinic and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you could log on to a website like ours, have a free trial to see if something's even going to work for you, and then pay something affordable to change your healthcare regime. We're going global, we're taking it on everywhere. We want to change the way that healthcare is managed for tinnitus sufferers first, and then for even preventing it in general. We want to prevent the deaf generation from ever happening. We don't see why anyone who wants to listen to Spotify a little too loud should pay for that price. And I know that we're going to be able to do it. And hopefully all of you here where we are today in Riga will be able to help with that and changing the policy and making e-health a little bit more available globally. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. You can help.
So, wasn't she fab? I don't know why you were worrying, my darling. You were just brilliant at that. And we all were in awe of you. So you are actually currently on a sabbatical from your physics degree.
Yes, for a little longer
She hasn't told her mum and dad that it's for longer than...
A little bit longer than it was expected, but I think they might get over it soon enough. I'll go back. I will go back.
Okay, but just to be serious, Mo, now tell me, what are the problems that you have faced in terms of actually setting this up? I mean, if you had a magic wand to wave, what would you do to change things so that people like you can really start up easily?
Well, I'd go back to Anne-Marie, give her a boatload of money, and hopefully meet her a little bit earlier. People like STEMettes are making it possible nowadays. When we set up, it was 6 years ago. Startups weren't cool. The internet wasn't cool. It wasn't a thing. People didn't want to give money to young people who had crazy ideas. They thought that they were crazy, which sometimes they are, but you don't know what people so young are going to be able to develop. And at the BT Young Scientist, where we go every year, there's 500 projects of amazing things there. And now there's a business boot camp for them afterwards, so they can say, well, I can actually commercialize this, and this is going to change someone's life. So it's making those programs available. We spoke about it earlier. There aren't any programs available for people. And then there's red tape, everybody's favorite thing, but we didn't know very much about it when we started. But now that we're going through the regulation process, we understand how big a deal it is, but we still will never be able to know what's actually coming for us. We have an awful lot to learn in that, but it's not available. The information isn't there for anyone, so it's funding, it's making it actually a thing that people are encouraged to do. We encourage it hugely now in Ireland, and especially for young female founders and just young founders and anywhere, that it's an okay route to go. You don't just have to go to college. You don't just have to become one of those XYZ things that people do. It's, oh, you think you can do something amazing? And, oh, it might be in science. That's creative too. That could change the world. You should do it. Here's a big bucket of money to enable you to do it.
And we talked about failure earlier, and that it's important to be able to fail. Is that something that you agree with?
Absolutely. Fail fast, fail often. They say it all the time. You need to know that, well, when you're in a startup anyway, you're going to have failings every single day, but you can't look at it like that anymore. It's just it's something that you've learned, and it's going to build you up and make you stronger. And it needs to be okay if you do fail at your startup, because at least you tried, and you knew that you wanted to make a difference, and you gave it a go. You know, failure happens every single day. It's not the end of the world. You can always do something else. You know, tomorrow's another day. You will do something else.
Take your physics degree.
You can finish your physics degree someday. You know, there's options.
Fantastic. Okay, what are we hearing from our tweeters?
Well, people are impressed by this speech. Belgian digital champion just tweeted that digital health is changing the world, social inclusion in a connected world. Very inspiring. And I've got two questions. The first one is from Tina Urm. Sound bounds sounds great. So how does it actually work? So is the first question. And the second question, Jari-Pekka Kaleva. What are the main regulatory barriers for e-health startups in Europe, probably?
Okay, well, sound bounce works utilizing a smart material that reacts to its environment. It kind of looks like a goo. And the goo is clever. It knows what's happening outside it, and it just reacts instantly.
Smart goo. You've got it there. Right.
It's not always that complicated.
Okay. It's an uncomplicated smart goo, ladies and gentlemen, that you just put around your ears and it's all marvellous. Right, what was
the second was, what are the main regulatory barriers for e-health startups?
Well, becoming regulated, you know, there's how many ISOs are there? How long is a stick? There's so many that you need. It's just complying with making sure that your customers are happy and that you're making your product in the right place, that you're making it in the exact way that it should be best made, and you're using the best materials and the best equipment. But I still do not know what all of the regulatory barriers are. We are discovering new ones every single day that we're complying with. But they're writing them as well. So the legislation hadn't been written for what we're doing when we started. That's why we only got our regulation this year, because it was written. So it's not catching up quick enough.
And it's a trial in itself, knowing which of the many organisations to go to in Europe to get your CE mark from.
Yeah, very hard to know. But locally, like in Ireland, we have the HPRA and
HPRA?
Yeah, Health Product Regulatory Association. And I'm pretty sure that there's another one in the UK as well that's the exact same.
The MHRA, yes.
MHRA, yeah.
Okay, let's have the lights up. Let's have some questions. It's a bit blinding, yes. But there they all are. They're really quite friendly. They're not going to bite. And we've got a question at the back there.
My name is Klaus Berler. I have a question to you, Rhona. You said 6 years ago the internet was not cool. I was a little bit surprised because for me the web was cool already in the 90s. So could you just give us the most important... Sorry, I'm too old. Yeah.
Yes.
So digital education.
You just give us the points which for you makes the internet really cool nowadays, as I don't understand it.
Definitely, that's easy connection. You know, Facebook, Twitter weren't as big as they were then. I think I was the only person on Facebook in my friend group 6 years ago. So that's why it wasn't cool. People were like, what is Facebook? Why would you go there? That's not a thing yet. But now, obviously, it's everywhere. And now the internet, it enables you to do whatever you want. You know, you can set up a company from your bedroom. You can set it up from your backyard. It doesn't matter. You know, it enables you to do anything, and then it enables you to connect with anyone. Like the degree of separation, we were talking about this earlier among all of you, is that the degree of separation between me and you 6 years ago would have been 1 million. Now it's 2 because we've got Twitter. So that's my favorite thing, to be able to reduce those degrees of separation, which enables all of us to grow and grow companies and grow policy and change standards.
Okay, you have your answer there. This gentleman here.
Hi, Rhona. This is Dean Untitled. First of all, I think it's a great story and inspirational about what you've done and just taken the energy and started up something.
Thank you.
One comment. Facebook is becoming less cool for the young people, but I take that from a 12-year-old. Mm-hmm. But the other part is, if you look at what kind of support you would need. I mean, the European Commission's got all sorts of initiatives in terms of encouraging entrepreneurship, whether it's digital entrepreneurship or other fields, from mentoring to funding to training and everything. What are the top 2-3 things that you think an entrepreneur should need that Europe could support?
I definitely know what they need, and it's to enable all of the other entrepreneurs to get together. The best way that we grow is in incubators with each other. You don't get that much out of an incubator other than the connections with the other companies going through the same thing as you, who may have done it 6 months earlier or may be doing it at the same time and can teach you how to do it. So it's great that there might be mentors, but it's quite hard to find the right one for what you're doing, and maybe they have a different vision to you, but you can learn so much better from your peers. And as an entrepreneur, you often feel like an island, especially somewhere like Ireland, just a small island. And knowing that you're not an island is the best thing that you can learn and have access to. We grow so much from being in incubators with each other and even just going to forums with each other. I just came from an amazing forum called founder.org, set up by a guy called Michael Baum from Splunk, and he gets founders from universities all over the world to come together and talk about and learn how they're doing their startups. And that's where we first met another e-health connected company. There had not been another one in Ireland. And we always felt alone in that. And we learned so much from all of those companies about regulation in the rest of the globe, not just in Ireland or Europe, but all over. So it's getting each other together, I think, is the only thing that you need.
Fantastic. Rhona, it's been such a pleasure and delight to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. You go there.